Hello, everyone. Hopefully, everybody's having a wonderful day. Thank you for joining me on a new video here. This is the new spreadsheet I have here called the Pick 3 Secret, the Rundown, and the Story System, which is really a breakdown of this Excel sheet that I have. It is a powerful one. I mean, a lot of times we like to play the Pick 3 just by guessing. I always did that before when I used to play Pick 3 when I first started out, is I would just like use birthdays and all these other different things. I might be seeing a number on a license plate. I may like, oh, that's a number that's gonna play tonight. We always guessing. Sometimes I would see a number I'm being thinking about. I was like, maybe that might play tonight. Maybe that's my lucky number. Stuff like that. At the end of the day, you always end up losing. You start putting money into something, and then it's always going to be not working the way you want it to work out. So, I mean, I've been there many times. I mean, at times I would play and play, and not hitting, and then sometimes out of the blue I might hit. Sometimes it's a chance. But the thing about it is understanding the system that I created here made it very simple for me. A lot of times that we have different chances, and sometimes we might be one number off, or we might pick some number here and there. Next thing you know, we're like way off. So but with this is kind of a proven system I have generated here, is really narrowing the number down to what the next number may be. But I can't guarantee that they might win. Again, this is for educational purposes only, so I can't say that it's going to be a guaranteed win or nothing like that. So just don't take that. I just want to make sure that you understand how to play these pick three games. I mean, it is a lot of numbers. I mean, pick three itself, it has how many numbers? 1,000 numbers, right? 000 to 999, 1,000 numbers. And just understand that. And that's the reason why I have this Excel sheets that I've created for myself and for everybody else that I can share some winnings with. I mean, I always try to look out for different ways to play the pick three itself. But I've had this one, I've been working on this one, adding to it. I started with 3 sheets on this. Now I have 5 different sheets. So if this is your first time watching this video or first time watching one of my spreadsheets that I have here, this one's a powerful one. All right, so we are going to go ahead and share with you on this here. So let me go ahead and pull up some information here and see here. Let me pull up my numbers here. Okay, so what I've done here is this is a live sheet. This is so there's 4 sheets that I have. So there's a story system sheet, there's a rundown system sheet that we're going to be analyzing from. Here is a temp sheet. I call it a temperature sheet. So it gives you the hot, colds, and overdue days numbers, and then the trackers where you can track your stuff. And then here's all my data stuff that you have that you need to put into the system itself. So everything is done already. So the only thing you got to really fill in is these. Right, so it's just the data information here. So this one is from this. I live in Arizona, so in Arizona we play the pick three one game at night. Okay, so we only play one game a day, which is the evening time. And here are the last draws here for us. So if you match some of this, it'll match all the numbers in here. So if I go to January 1st of this year, 0367688. So I separated them here for really analyzing stuff. And then this is also going to help us out. And then it gives us the rundown. And inside the spreadsheet, every number has its own rundown to play with for them to work the best way. And then with this, let's go start with this one here. So what I've done here with my sheet is I took out some numbers so we can see if this temp sheet would help us out, or even tracking the numbers would help us out. So let's go ahead and pull up this information. So we're playing from September 4th. I already inputted some numbers in the system, but we'll go ahead and maybe change it out. Let's try and change it out first. Let's do 135. Let's just put that number in so we can update this information. So 135. So we can just mess with the sheet here. Let's change all this information here. Right. So but the date is already inputted, right? So everything else. So the way it works when you input the dates information here. So if I put 123 and I hit add new, this is going to take it to the last number of the date of today, or whatever the date is, right? So this one takes us down to the 5th. So here's the number I entered. the 123 number is a 123 rundown that it'll play off of. But that's just showing you how the sheet, when you enter the information, what happens. All right, so if I put 123 here, oh, my bad. So if I put 123 in this box, it automatically adjusts everything else here for us. And then it even tells us here this is the best the best sheet to use with. But today we're going to be going through the spreadsheet. We're going to go through the calendar here that I have. So again, like I say, the date that we're playing is going to be on the 4th, right? So that's updated. So it's 281 is what the number that we're playing. So what I'll do is I'll put 281 in this box. All right, so now it breaks it down for us, individual digits, and it gives us a pair of digits, and then it gives us the root sum of the cycle, root sum of the everything else here, and then the mirror number of this, right? And then from here, it gives us the same information on this side, and then it gives us here what the best rundown would we could use for the 281, which is a 649. And all the pairs, everything else is updated here, which pairs to play. And it gives you a little story here. It says number 281 is a single digit number with the sum of 11. Root sum is 2. Its mirror number is a 736. Pairs inside is 282181. And with this, and then from here, it tells you like what to watch out for, what kind of doubles you can play. Watch out for 228, 882, 221, or the other side would be 112, 881, 118. A root sum 2 cycle may cluster, monitor, mirror, and pairs for the next 7 days, 7 to 10 days. All right, so that's what it says here. So that gives us more information on that. And let's take a look here. Okay. Okay, so there it is. So that is the number for us. And let's put that in. Okay, so from here, what I'll do is I'll take this 281, and the pairs already showed up here already from the sheet here. This information pops up in here for us automatically. Here's your mirror numbers. Here's all your flip numbers. And I'll put this in here, 281, and then the mirror is 736. And then the cool thing about this chart is you can choose whatever chart you want to play. So if I wanted to play off of the 111 rundown off of the sheet, I would just hit switch that to 111 rundown and I hit run. All these information changes to 111 rundown for you. Now there's three different sheets I'm playing here, right? Three different columns, right? So this is 111 rundown. Here's another section, and here's another section, right? A lot of people just play just one box like this. For me, I don't. I'm really under make. That doesn't make sense to me because I want to see the backside of the story too. I just don't want to see the front side because you got to understand this right here is a mirror number of each, right? It's a mirror number. So this box is this. If you're playing let's say if you're playing a 317 rundown, this box here is the box down here, right? So that's how it plays off. But each of these rundowns has its own ways. But so we're using the 649. So I go to 649, update that, and then we're playing for the fifth. So I updated this one here too, so you can change the number. So like if I put 4, it changes all the 4s for me, highlights all the 4s. If I'm playing for the fifth, I'll change all the 5s for me, right? The only reason I have this here is because the only reason I have there is because I want you to find that it plays off of the date most of the time on any of the pick threes. A lot of time people will say, okay, so today's date is the 5th, and then they start adding with the month, right? So if you played a month, let's say 9 plus 4, let's say if it was yesterday or on the September the 4th, it would have been 9 plus 4 is 13, right? Then they tell you to keep the 3. I mean, you can play it that way if it works for you, fine. I mean, but for me, I just like to play the date itself. So if the 4th or the 5th, so if it was the 3rd today, I will play the 4th for tomorrow's game, right? So we're playing for the 5th, which is today's date, right? So that's the way I would do it. So what I would do from here is I'll look for the 5s. So all the high 5s are already highlighted. And the next day's number off of this, because we took some numbers off, is the 5th right here, 665. right? So now we're looking at so we go to the fives, and here's the 5 here, and it automatically here, 6, 5, 6, right, against the 5 itself. On this side, if you look at all the fives, there's really no sixes around them. The only area here is the 5, right? It's already highlighted it for you. But if sometimes what I would do is I would take this 5 and put it into this box, into the green boxes, because now you can see both side of so let's do that. So let's take the 5 into where the 9 is at. So this is how I mostly play. 6, 4, 7, 1, 9, 2, right? And then 1, 9, 2. So there it is. So now 6, 5, 6, right? But if you look over here, there's no sixes around the fives at all. Down here is the same way. Down here is just 6, 6, 5 this way. It's still attached to the 5 again. Right, so these two boxes somehow played off, but this is the mirror side of it. There's no sixes around that either. There's a 6 here. This is these two right here are 5s, right? So these, if you mirror this, so if I would have played that, I mean, that's how it would have came back, right? So 6, 6, 5. But then the pairs didn't really help us out because it didn't really play the pairs itself. It took one of the 6 off the 7 on the mirror side of it, but there's no doubles there. So let's go ahead and check out this temp sheet that I have. So how this works is this one is based off of how many draws that you've done, and this is my frequency page, meaning that how many times these number has came up, and it's counted as each digit, right? So right here, so it's like if it's 1, 2, 3, the 1 will fall in the first digit, the second digit, and the third digit, right? So if it's 281, 281 would count here. So what I would do is like, let's say if it's the last 10 days of draws that you played, now it tells you like how many times these numbers have come up, and it's going to tell you which number is hot, which numbers are cold, right? So that's how this one is played. So the 2 is here, 8 would be here, and then the 1 would be in the third digit, right? So then what I would do is if I was just playing based off of the last 10 draws, I will hit update. Now it tells you which numbers are hot, which numbers are cold, which number is overdue, so the 10 days. So mainly I think the best area would to look at any type of frequency, I say would be 30 days, the last 30 draws. So that way you can see like which numbers are hot numbers. Like for an example, 1 is a hot number, right? 1 is a hot number. And then 3, and the 3 again is a hot number, and then the 7 is also a hot number. So it tells you like the digits here is on here. And then the digits here is for this. Same thing, 8 is so you're positioning each of these numbers separately instead of trying to put it as whole. So like the 6 has a play in the last 30 days under the third digit itself. So now you're looking at, okay, even the 5 here has a play in the last 30 days itself, right? So there's no hits on that. So it tells you down here the 5 is cold. The overdue number 5 hasn't played in this area since 30 games ago, right? So that's why it says days here. Last 30 days is last time like these numbers have come up. Even in the third digit, number 5 hasn't played 30 days ago, right? And that's the third digits here, right? So the next day's number that came up here again, look at this. It's 665, right? So 6 was hot in this here in the second category because 6 is the hot number. In this section, the 6 here doesn't show anything here, but it still played here, right? So the number that came up after this was 665. So, but the 5 here is telling you the third digit, 5 hasn't played yet, and that's what it played, right? And this one is a hot number. So that's how so the frequency kind of tells you in a way, like which numbers are hot and which numbers are cold. So that's what it's for. So if you would have done this in the 90-day draws and you updated the 90 days updates here, and then you show your frequency here, now, I mean, it's going to narrow it down for you again. So here it says the overdue number is still number 5, right? And then here, the overdue number again is still 5, a 2, and a 7. but you couldn't have hit the sixes here because it doesn't show any sixes. But you can still try to choose a six if you want, if that makes sense. But I would probably base this back off of the chart here. So if you're playing in this box here and you're choosing, let's say you choose 6, 5, but you don't know what number else to choose, and let's say you choose the 6 and the 5 as the first, the second and the third, but you're trying to choose the first number, you can come back to here and choose one that based off of the frequency. That's how sometimes you can play it that way, right? So, but it's just really how you want to narrow down the hot and the cold. Like if I would do 50 draws here, it tells you down here, like the 6 is cold, the number 6. The overdue numbers are these, right? So that's the way this is the frequency is set up. And then then for the last one I have is a tracking sheet. So this one is a new sheet and it tracks all your numbers from 0 to 999. All right, so every numbers is there. And I separated them too to where you can have a front pair doubles, back pair doubles, outside doubles, so you can track which doubles have played and which doubles is maybe up for due. So, but this is only so the way I've done it is I took all the data information from this year, right? So I played it all the way up to here, all the way to here, right? From the first year. But if you want to track further than that, be my guest, just add numbers to it. Just make sure you update all the information. The main thing you just got to do is just enter the numbers in this. That's it. Just add a button. Everything else is designed to where everything else, the rundowns, everything else has already been matched for you. So you don't have to do anything else of what numbers come up and what the best rundown will be played on. So all I do is let's say the number is drawn, we just hit this button. 217 numbers have been drawn this year, right? So now it tracks every number that has come up already for you. Right, so any number that has come up, but it's just the face number itself. It's not the box number. So like let's say 618 has come up, and then if you go up again, and then if you go to 186, 186 is still there, right? So sometimes people will remove all the numbers that if the number has come up, and then they stay away from those numbers, right? So, but I don't do it that way. I just want to make sure what numbers have been drawn already. And then on this side, it's the same thing. It's really like this is scattered, right? So you don't really narrow it down. So then from here, if you want to play some doubles, you just update the doubles here. Now it tells you which doubles has played. 001, the front pair double has played. The back pair double of 022 has played. And then the outside double 020 has played. Right? So it narrows it down to find out which number hasn't been drawn yet. So that way you keep track of your stuff of which number to play next. So let's say if you see your chart or your rundown here and you're playing your numbers and you don't know which one to choose, and let's say you want to play this number, this number, and this number, you fill out all the information what you want to play, and let's say you choose 373, and let's say you go back in the tracking sheet, has that 373 been played, right? So you go back here, and 373 would be on the outside pair, so we go here, 373 has been played yet. Right? So, but mainly if you look at this, these are all just straight numbers, like all the three combinations for each double, but it's showing you which one has played already. So this double has played already, this double has played already, because the 022 has played, 020 has played. Now, next time when you choose a number to play, you might just play this number straight, because these two numbers have already been drawn, and you're being pulled to the 002. Like same thing here. The 050 and 055 has been played already this year. So the next number you might be looking for is 005. Now you have a better chance of hitting straight versus if these numbers had been played already. Make sense? So, but that's the way the tracking is more set up for. And if you guys want to clear this too much stuff on it, just hit the clear button. It removes everything for you. All right, so but that's how this frequency page that track the temp sheet is for. So which numbers are hot, cold. But these are the cool features of it is how many days ago the last numbers has been drawn, right? So, but we're in the 50 draws here. So let's go to 30 days. So I want to choose 30 days. And like again, like I said, the number that has came up was 281. So we're looking for 665. With this 30-day draw, the 5 was already shown as an overdue number 32 days ago. So the way you got to find that out is you go here. So 32 days ago. So if you think this is accurate, all I do is look for the number 5. I go to my data sheet and it's in the third spot, right? So my third spot. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let me just count backwards, right? So let's go to 32 days. Right here, 32 days ago is here. 32. See, 5's right there. 185 is the last time that 5 ever played in the third spot. So then if you go scroll back down this way, I don't see no 5s at all. None. So that's the reason why when it says it's overdue, that's how the numbers are being changed. Like it narrows it down for you. Like 8 is a hot number probably, or it's a brand new number. So when you look back on the temp sheet, see, 8 is hot, right? So 8 is hot in the second sheet, in the second side of it. So that's why it says 8 here. And 8 has played in the second digits 6 times already, right? Versus the 5 here is 0 because it's 30 days ago and it hasn't been drawn since then, right? It's been over 30 days now. So that's how you track some certain numbers. Like this one says 5 hasn't been drawn since 39 days ago, right? But this is based off of the 281 number. So if you look at back on here, maybe the 5 is going to come up right here. Look, the very next day, the 5 hit, which takes away the 5 here, the 5 hot here, the 5 digit here, right? So if I would enter the 655, so let's do that. So let's go back into the data sheet and I enter 665. Boom. Right, so now it's updated. So now we go back to the tracker. These numbers will be updated. This 5 will change to a 1. Boom. See? Now 30-day frequency is updated. And now we update this. Now it goes here. Now it says here which numbers to play next. So the next day's number after the 665 was 458. So we put 458 here. Guess what? 4 in the first digit, 4 is a cold number. It is also overdue 15 days ago. The next number is a 5. 5 is a cold and an overdue number and hasn't played since 30 days ago. And then on the 8 side of it, the 8 itself is a hot number. And the 8 has 4 here, is letting you know there's a hot number under the 8. And that's how this one played out based off of the hot and the cold numbers. So if we would play that and then we hit the update here, that number that we just entered now updated here. And now we go to the 665 chart. Now it breaks it down for us again. We hit update, 223 rundown. So we put 665 110 110 update. Oh, we're using the wrong rundown. So we go switch to 223. Now we update. Now we move this to the 6. So now the 6 is down here and the 1 is up here. So it's mirrored around. So now it's telling you that you're playing the mirror side of this number because the 1 is up here and the 6 is down here. So the main number should have been this, but it's down here. So let's look at that. So the next day's number again was what did I say? 458. So let's see what side 458 may play. But it's pulling here because the 6 is down here. 458 didn't show around the 6s, but it showed around the mirror side of it. See right here. 458. 458. Right? So it's against the 1 because I mean this is the mirror side. But if you look at all the blue side of it, do you see any 4s and 5s and 8s? Everywhere. See? 4, 5, 8 next to the 6 here. 4, 8. But this is a 0 here. And if you go down here, 4, 5, 8. Coming back down this way again against the 5 itself. So if I would flip this around and put the 0 up here, it's going to show you 4, 5, 8. Now what we highlighted has changed. because the was at the bottom and the 458 came down here. So now look at this, 458, 584. It all lines up here for you. You see it? All lined up. On this side too, 458. And guess what it's doing? Everything around the 6 and the 1s. Everything. And that's just based off of the 665 because this here told us the best rundown to use is 223. And if we would go to the 458 here, it's letting us know here the 8 is a hot number. The second digit, the 5 is a cold number and overdue for 30 days. And the front digit itself, 4, was a cold number and it's also an overdue number. Right, so, but that's how this tracker here is making everything else work. You know what I mean? So it makes some things a lot easier to see. It makes things a lot smoother to really understand. As soon as you start really understanding the chart, how to use these spreadsheet, it makes things a lot easier for us to understand versus like if you run down this number and then you're trying to find out this number here, maybe it's this, maybe it's this, and then you start looking at like all the other stuff and you write down stuff and you forget like, oh, I forgot about this, I forgot. Now this one is everything else is drawn. Like here it's already telling you even a 655, the 665 that we entered is in the front pair. It's already highlighted here. You know, automatically highlighted here because that number you just added in the system itself. All right. So let's do the next one. So 665. So now it's 458. So what we do is we add 458 in this box. We go ahead and add that because that's the winning last number. And it updated here. So now we go to the story sheet. We put 458. Now it breaks this down for us. What's the best rundown? 369. And then they give us the information. Here's your paired numbers. And then we hit the update here. Now it's updated for 458. And now it's telling us that you got to put in the 458 here. 458, 903, 903. And then we're going to be using the 369 chart here. So we're going to go ahead and switch this over to 369. Now we're going to be playing for the 7. So we'll go ahead and switch this date to the 7th. Now updated there. So the very next day's number is probably going to be close to this, either the 6 or the 1. All right, it's going to be one of those. And it's really going to be narrowed down to like, okay, which number is going to be playing the closest to the 1 or the 6. So let's go ahead and find out what that number is, but let's go ahead and go into the temp sheet. So let's go ahead and do with update here, since we just did an update on that, which is the 30-day draw. And let's see which numbers is hot, which numbers are cold. So the overdue numbers here. So the overdue number is 180. That's the first digit side of it. So I probably made me play off of the overdue. So let the 1 or the 8 or the 0. And then the second digits is also the overdue numbers, the cold numbers. And then the last digit is the cold hot numbers are there. So, and then from there, the next day's number, here we go. 7871, right? So 871. So we'll put 871 here. And then the 458 played off the 871. So here we go again. Number 8 itself is overdue for 18 days. Second digit. 7, overdue for 10 games ago. Then this one in the show here is a 1, because the 1 didn't show here, but 1 is 4. So 4. So this 1 is already a hot number. See the 4s here? I only collected the 5, the 6 here as hot numbers, but it shows these as hot numbers here. Maybe it's because the 8 has drawn here as a hot number. What was drawn the last number, so that's probably the reason why it shows the 0 here as a hot number. So that might be the reason why. All right, so but that's the way this number has came out, so 871. So let's go ahead and update here, and this will update for a last drawn, and then update if the but this one wasn't a double or nothing like that, so this one didn't matter. But then we go back to the spreadsheet. So now we're looking at the number that came up, 871, 817, 187, 17, 187, all the way around, right? That's around the 6 itself, right? But this is attached to the 7. Remember, we're playing the date for the 7. But down here, 1, 1, 7, 8, 1, 7, 8, still attached to the 7 itself, right? So if I move the 7 down here, so let's put that in, that 7 in that box. So I put 199. There we go. 178. 178. Here's 131, 137, 78, 187, 187. Everything's around attached to the 7 itself. So it's always going to be the next day's date. I mean, so, not always, but it does tend to play it that way. That's the reason why I highlight all the 7s or whatever the date is. If I were to add this, so let's try it that way. What most people do, they'll play the 9 plus this 6, right? That's 15. But let's say if the date is the 8th, so they say they play the date, so 9 plus 6 is 15. And what they'll do is they'll drop the 1 and keep the 5. So if I put the 5 here, it's still played as that, 817 next to the 5. 817 between the 5s. So I don't think it's a bad thing to do, but yeah, you might choose the 5 over the 1, you know what I mean? Over the 7 itself. You might say, oh, 558 or 575, but it's still attached to the 5 itself. So if I do the 7s, 187, and it tells you too, like sometimes you can always find a date. So if the 17 is here, this is attached to a 17, this is a 17, this is a 17, this is a 17, 178. So everything is attached to a 17. So that's the way that one works. So let's go ahead and go to the next one. So let's try the next one is, so the 458 was the last number. So now it's 817. So we just got to update this one here in the data sheet, which was again the number 871. Go ahead and run that update. Now we go back in here and update this as well, because now the number has been added. So now 220 numbers have been drawn. And then we're going to go ahead and run this. Now all the numbers have changed. And the system here tells us to play 649. The best rundown for 871 is 649. So what I would do is I would put, let me update this one real quick. So 871 is now updated. 326, 326, run. And I'll switch this to the 649 chart. Now it's adjusted to 649. So now we gotta look for all the 8s. So there it is. The 8 is here, here, and here. So you see this, there's 3 times the 8 came up, but it's only really 2 times because they were using the 649. These numbers will be the same, but the only mirror number is going to be these 2 digits here. Right? So we're looking for the date of the 8th. And around the 8th, the number has come up as 354. 3, 5. This is a 9, is a 4. 3, 5, 4. 5, 4, 3. 3, 5, 4 against the 4 itself because you're mirroring off the 9 itself. Right? But that's how it's playing here. But let's switch this out and move the 8 into that box. So let's do 410. 410. 965. 965. So now here, this is based off of the mirrors here. Mirror 9 of 4, 6 is a 1, 0 is a 5, right? So that's how both sides are. So now we got the 8 in here, and the next day's number again is 354. So 354, 354, 345 this way too. It's always attached to either the mirror numbers or the main number here. But that's what I'm still mainly focused on, is trying to figure out like which is which of Y is Y, how that number would play. So if it's a date of the 8th, I always try to think of it as the 3 might come up. Hey, the 8 might come up. So I guess you always got to see it like if you want to play that. But the best thing about this sheet now is running down the last 30 days of draws. So let's look at that. So the number again was 354. So here it is. So the first digit, threes, is a hot number. 5 is a cold number, but it's not an overdue number, but it's a cold number. And the 4 is overdue for 30 days. So that's the reason why I put on the fourth side of it. That's an overdue number for 30 days ago. And play the 4 itself. But that's giving you the logical numbers here. And from here, this is just the drawings. There's no double that has been updated yet. So, but that's the way the data sheets here. Okay, and then down here, so the next day's number was 354. This one they give us really much information, based off of the pairs itself. Okay, but the story system itself is pretty powerful. I mean, it's just really understanding like what's your best rundown to use of any pairs. But if it was this, I think the best thing I could probably add in here too is mirroring these numbers. So this one would have been at 332,778, right? 336,663, 226,662. So the next day's number was 354. But it's still going to help us out. Not really. But that's the way you got to see it though. It's just another way that I've seen certain things. All right, but that's where we're at with this. So that's 871. Oh, I forgot to update. I don't think I added the number, did I? 354. No, I did not. 354. There we go. So now I update. There it is, 354. Let's check back to the temp sheet again. See if it still matches the same. Still 3 is a hot number. 5 still a cold number. And 4 still 27 days ago. Or 4 is a cold number here. But then again, the 4 on this third one is 1. It's counted as 1. The only one that still hasn't been come up 30 days is the 4. So if you change this to, let's say, 40 days, the 6 is still a cold, hot, overdue. 4, so you just, I think 30 days is probably the best, I would say. Like if you go 90 days, it's kind of just way too wide, because if you look at pick threes, a lot of these numbers have continued to grow up and up and up. Like this one here is all the numbers. All right, but this one never really narrows it down. Like when the last time number 6 has come up. Even like 90 days ago, 34, number 6 hasn't come up that far. 2 is 42 days. 2 is 42 days ago. 0 is 13. 1 on this side of it. So it's a cool way of seeing certain things. Because a lot of times you go to a site and then it says, oh, cold, hot. Then they tell you like the numbers, but you don't know exactly how they get the information. It's probably the same way I'm doing this, but I'm sharing you with the backside of how these systems work. Really understanding the different strategies that I have here. But that's the way this one showed up. So 354 was the main number. So if we go back to 354, and let's say we put 809, and we go here. So 354 we added already. So that was on the 8th. So we put 354. Now it's a single digit. Here's all the pairs. It's your root sum of 3. Now the best rundown to use on this one is 251. So we'll go ahead and switch this over to 251 chart. We update that. Now we're playing for the 9th, so we'll go ahead and put this to the 9th. And we're going ahead and update. And then here, we're going to be showing here 354. So the next day's number was, let's see, 757 overdue. That's what played on the 9th. 757. And look at this. 7 is a cold number. 7 is a hot number. 5 is a cold number. 7 is an overdue number. Somehow it's mingling here as a hot number and an overdue number. Maybe it's because I'm using the 90 days one. But if I go to 30 days, let's change that. Let's see if it changes on this one. 7 is still a hot number. 5 is still a cold number. 7 is an overdue number for 12 days. But somehow it's still set as a hot number here. I think it's because it's high. But then it's starting to set as an overdue number because it hasn't played for that long. Makes sense? So the 6 would have been the 0 is shown here as a hot number for some reason. I don't know why, because it's, oh, that's a 6, I'm sorry. The 0 here is shown as a hot number. All right, the coal is 2, 4 is 1, coal is 6 as well. 6 hasn't come up here. So, but that's the way that that one is set up. So let's go ahead and put this in. So we are playing the 354 and we're playing it on the 9th, right? So the 9th. So let's go to the 9th. Let's put the box here. Let's put the 9 in this box. And let's put 907452 452. Now switched around. So 354 is down here. And the next day's number is 757. Right here, look, 775 against both nines this way. And here, this one is the 75, and then it goes back to a 5, 575. But here is 775. But if I would mirror this and put it, and this is a 251 chart, so the mirror doesn't work the same. The mirrors, these numbers stay the same. These numbers stays the same. Or I'm sorry, it's 9, 5, it mirrors off. 7 mirrors as well. So the only number that doesn't change is the 9, or the main number. But it's still a hit on this. A 775 around the 9, 775 this way, 775 upwards. It's all right there. And it's based off of the 9th date. So the 9 is here. All right, so if you put 09 there, that's the date. This is the 9 date. It's telling you that the date is playing the date itself. See, it tracks it down for you. It's pretty cool, huh? All right, so that's the number that we played. So now we go to 757, add that in the chart. The tracking side of it, oh, hit the wrong button. Drawn, and then we go to the double. Now the 757 is now added. There it is. So now we go to the rundown and we go ahead and play the 757. And the best rundown on this one shows us an outside double. So it tells you that a lot of time the middle number of the 5 becomes a pivot number. That might be the 0 or the 5. I mean, that's where I see it. I mean, everybody has their ways. So let's go and update this. 757202. And we're going to switch this to 369 chart. Because that says here the best rundown is to play the 369 chart. So now we're in the double digits. So we're now the 10th. So I would switch this to the 0. And update. And here's the mirrors for the next numbers. And let's go ahead and take a look and see. There's all the numbers, all the zeros are on these side of it. There's only 2 zeros right here. But it's playing the 10th up here. These are the 10. but the next day's number that came up is 288. So I'm just trying to see how this one played out. There's an 8 and 8 right here, 288 here. It's attached to the 0 and the 5 here. And if I go down here, this one is a 3 and an 8. So this one, the 288 goes this way. And it's probably still attached back to the 10. Just watch. So the 0 is here, the 10th is up here. 10th. So all the 8s are here. So but then the 2 is down here. 88, 288. So it's kind of hidden. So let's switch this around and see. So with 369, this mirrors. This middle one doesn't change. That's what I mean that this is a pivot number. So these ones are also flip. So if I were to put the mirror here, off of this, that'd be 707. Right now we flipped it around. You probably see the 288 better this way. So we go to the 0. That totally changed. Now it's down here 288. Probably up here now. Down here now 288 against a 252. It's a 10. So this one's kind of tricky. But if we look at the sheet here, since we updated this, the 288 came up after the 757. Did we add the 288 yet? No, we did not add the 288 yet. Oh, we added the 757, huh? So that's what we're playing in 757. Yeah, 757. So let's just run this real quick. And let's see if 288 would have been a good number using the frequency. So we're using last 30-day draw. 2 never showed up here in the first one. 8 is a hot number. 8 is a hot number here. So both of these 8s here are hot numbers. But if I would switch this to, let's say, 60-day draws, 2 never showed up here. No, 2 is a hot number here. 8's a hot, and then there's no 8 in the last one. So I think 30 days is really the last, best numbers. You can always use for the frequency. Right, so the next day's number is 288, so we go ahead and add that. And then we go back to the rundown, so we update this. And we put 288 here. And it shows us the 223 is the best rundown for this one. So we go ahead and put 288, 733, and now we're using the chart here. 288 is a 223 rundown is the best chart for you. So now we're going to switch this to the 11 because we're playing the next day. So now there's only 1 in this section. So we're going to bring this 1 in here into this box. So it's 1. So we got to put 065, 510. Okay, so 1 is there. So the next day's number that came up, let's see if this number here is attached to the next day's number. The next day's number is 756. So right here, 756 attached to the 1, 756 attached to the 1, 51, 756 down this way from the mirror, 756 this way. So it's all playing against the blue on this side. So if we flip this around, 510, 065. Let's move everything else into the box in the middle. Now you play the 6 and the 1. So the 1 is down here. 756. 756 is around the 1. 576 this way. Still all attached to the one. All right, so that's how that one played out. And we go to the temp sheet. We update the numbers here for us. And we're doing the last 30-day draw. So 756 was the last number. And let's see if 7 is a hot number in the first category. There's no 5. And the 6 is an overdue number for 30 days. So now that 6 came through here. That's the cold number in the third section side of it. So I think the best way to play this too is like if you have a number, let's say if you're playing a 7-5 here and you're trying to make up your mind, like if you want to play the 4 or the 9, you can go into the temp sheet and you can look for the 4. There's a 4 and a 9 here is an overdue number. You can choose those if you want. 9 overdue, 9 overdue. You can base it off of that. Or if it says a 7 here and you want to play the 7's hot number, but you can always break it down that way as well. Right, so but that's how it played out. And let's try the last one. So 1156 update, rundown. So 756 is here. Best rundown is 777. So now let's try that. 756 2051 update. Now we go to 777 rundown. Last night I chose some numbers off of this, and man, I chose 7376. The number came in as 373. Right here, 373. That's how it came up as. Literally what I did is I was playing a 777 rundown here, and I chose what to put the 2 here. So I put 978 423, and there's a 2. And I started looking at it as like, okay, so I mean, this looks interesting. So I kept looking at the 2, but somehow the 7, if you look at the mirror, this is the mirror of 4, 2, 3, right? It plays directly. But then I was thinking about, I was like, I think this number here. So I started looking at it because it's a 1. No, let me see. Let me put it as a 2. Let me put this as a 2. So I had it as 2s like this, and I kept looking at this here. It's like, so there's a 2 here. And I was looking at like from both perspective. I chose these numbers. So I chose 370. I chose 376, and then I chose 374, and then I chose. I think I went this way too. 164, 560, and then I went this way too. So all these boxes, this number's inside this box. But as soon as that number came back, it went 373. See here, 373. And it's not on the 12 one here. It's based off of the 7 itself here. So that's why when there's a 2, because the 7 carried from here. The 7 continued, but then the 3's came out. So this one is a pivot number here in the middle. So, but if I would have had, I didn't have this at the time. So let's try it. 737. So we didn't update the number, did we? So let's see. Nope. 737. Or no, 756. I think we did update it, right? Yeah, we did. So let's remove this back. So let's go back and update. Let's see if this would have played out if I would have had this chart. 7, so 3, so the number that came up was 373. 373. Two hot numbers and one overdue number. All right, so that's pretty much the one there. Everything else up for us, and hopefully you guys have a wonderful night. And so that's really the sheet. It's almost an hour of training. So thank you for watching. Subscribe to this channel. If you'd like to get a copy of the spreadsheet, just post a comment in the post some saying that you want this sheet, and I can send you the link for it. That way you can purchase it. It should be on Etsy as well. I'll just keep the yeah. You can check on the description as well for the link itself. But if you want a special one, let me know. Just put I want a special one, then I can go ahead and get this registered for you to get this other stuff that's included. But as soon as updated, it's going to be if you already purchased from me with the sheet, this will update for you automatically, so you don't have to worry about the changes. You don't have to buy a new sheet or nothing like that. Okay. So have a good day. Take care of yourselves. Be safe, and we shall talk to you again later.